Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. A very big apologies for a slightly delayed start. I think there was so many people requesting to join and speak at this session. But hello, happy Thursday to everyone that is joining. End of August already. I hope that you all had a fantastic summer wherever you were in the world. If you were working, watching your portfolio, or as we say in crypto, going outside to touch some grass. Speaking of crypto, August has been an absolutely busy month and a landmark month for the industry. We saw institutional investment driving crypto accelerating, driving further adoption of Web3. We've seen record inflows into digital asset funds, new tokenized projects from major banks, and both BNB and ETH reaching new all-time highs. So a huge congratulations to all the hodlers out there. It's time now to hear from Binance's very own CEO, Richard Teng, and he'll be sharing his perspective on the developments in the market and what they mean for months ahead. And of course, we'll also be opening the floor for your questions. As always, to our community that are joining, that are listening in, please give us a hello on the chat room. We see each and every comment. A huge thank you for those taking the time to join us and to share some insights. And the insights and questions that you will provide are extremely valuable to all of us. And they really help guide the conversations that matter most in our industry. So without further ado, let's kick things off. Richard, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Jessica. Very good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Well, I hope you had a fantastic summer and you weren't working too hard. Should we kick things off with our first question of the day?
Sure. Let's go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, August has been a huge milestone month with both BNB and ETH reaching new all-time highs. Now, this is something that we didn't see in previous cycles with such a busy all-time high August. So I'm curious to hear from you, Richard, how has 2025 shaped up for you and also for Binance as a whole? And also if you could share some of the expectations in the month ahead as we move into the final stretch of 2025.
Sure. Thanks for that. Well, first of all, thanks everyone for joining. Right? It's a real pleasure to be here. Jessica, you're almost breathless just setting out what happened in August. There are so many things, right, happening. So it has indeed been a very exciting 2025 for Binance as well as for the broader crypto industry, right? So seeing digital assets such as BNB, ETH reaching all-time high in August is a milestone which we haven't witnessed since the last cycle. And it's a positive sign that the market is gaining renewed momentum. Like many industry, we are encouraged by all this development because a thriving market means so much more opportunities for everyone, from people innovating to adoption to investing to community that's much more engaged and happy. And it continue and energize us at Binance to keep pushing forward on that front. So that said, it's very important not to be complacent. Bull markets are enjoyable, but they can also be very distracting if we lose sight of the foundational work that still needs to be done. So at Binance, the entire team, we are very focused on building robust infrastructure, security, expanding our product suite, coming up with new innovative ideas to support you in your crypto journey and beyond. And we want to be here for the next 100 years and not just in the next few years, right? To support all our community, our users that have been standing by us and growing day by day in a very fast, rapid pace. And together, we're going to shape the future, responsibility as well as sustainability. You mentioned, what do we look ahead in the final months of 2025? I mentioned at the beginning of the year that I think 2025 is going to be a very good year. And now with the broader macroeconomic conditions, Fed chairman came out to say that, it looks like the environment is getting right for a rate cut. And we know that a lower interest rate environment normally is much better for asset classes, including crypto. We are seeing a lot of new developments. ETF has been something that happens a lot in 2024. This year, we're seeing a lot of treasury companies being launched, right? And getting mainstream, getting a lot of attention. I have different governments, different corporations coming to me every day, asking about, new rules, new regulations they should put in place to really support crypto growth. And corporations highlighting the key use cases. I was at a Google event earlier today, and a lot of corporations that spoke to me are highlighting, look, stablecoin is going to grow rapidly, crypto is going to grow rapidly because they solve real world problems. And these are the things that we all know, right? Crypto has existed and will continue to exist because it solved a lot of fundamental problems that continue to exist for the longest time. And now we are seeing crypto transforming a lot of those landscapes, piece by piece, but very quickly. So exchanges like ourselves, Binance, we're very committed to continue to build the infrastructure, the tools for everyone to participate in the crypto ecosystem, from all users, from our community, to newcomers coming into the crypto scene. So we are here to support you going forward.
Awesome. That was a great answer. Thank you, Richard. And absolutely agree. It's been such a landmark month for the industry. And I was out of breath reading all of the big milestones our industry is going.
Yeah.
It's just such an exciting time. And I think the fact that we are just gearing up for the final stretch of September, October, and then the rest is yet to come. Without further ado, then, I think we have a long list of KOLs, of attendees, Binanceans that are listening in that do have some questions for you. So I will be handing the stage over to some of them. And I believe the first KOL that will be joining us now, we have Gray BTC, who will be joining to share a question for you. Hey, Gray BTC, thank you for joining us today. I hope you're doing great.
Yeah, doing great. Much better day for the markets this time around. So thanks to Satoshi any day, but also thanks to you, Jess, for putting this together, and Richard as well for making the time to hang out with the community. So the number one question is, considering that DEXs are now taking over again, which is something that Binance has worked on before. I remember in 2018-19 or so, Binance DEX sort of became a thing, but then that changed because DEXs lost relevance. But now, looking at Hyperliquid, it's clear that the DEXs are coming back up. So I wonder if Binance still has any plans to sort of enter that DEXs market again.
You're right. DEX are growing and they are evolving, and it's a healthy sign for the industry, right? That you have more use cases, more different platforms, increased interest, increased participation in different type of platforms coming through. So according to DeFi Llama, DEX volume over the past 30 days is about 480 billion, and this number has been steadily growing, right? So it is a good positive sign. At Binance, the company, we continue to monitor the crypto ecosystem to really understand what user wants, to try to anticipate industry trends, and try to develop products and services to serve our users, right? And our strength continue lies in our ability to deliver what user wants in a compliant fashion, in a sustainable fashion, and sometimes even before they realize it. I think for those that have used Binance Web3 wallet, as well as Alpha, you realize that. So having said that, competing by launching a DEX is not the only way to engage with DeFi, right? As you know, we're currently focused on many different areas, new products, including Binance Alpha, Binance Wallet. They have seen very, very, very strong traction. And I want to thank all users for participating in those, supporting that. We have captured the most market share within a very short period of time. And this is not possible without your support. And what we try to do is really develop ourselves into a CDFI platform, right? Meaning having the best of both worlds, covering CX as well as DEX. Right? And for those that use DEX, you know some of the shortcomings and you see complaints, etc. So we try to become the bridge between centralized and decentralized finance, giving users easy exposure to DeFi while leveraging on Binance platform strength, including liquidity, compliance, etc., etc. I think all of you will see all these advantages. So hopefully that give you some insights into what we are doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gray BTC, for the question, and love the shout out. Thank you for Satoshi at the beginning. I think we should all be thanking Satoshi every single day. Okay, great. So next up, we have our next guest joining us now, Tobias Bauer from TB Ventures. Welcome to the stream. A huge thank you for joining us. I'll check that you could hear us okay, and then hand the stage to ask the question to Richard. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, I can hear you guys perfectly. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on the space today, and a pleasure to meet you, Jessica and Richard. I want to jump right into the questions because I know we have a lot of them coming up still. But I'm very interested, with Binance obviously operating across many jurisdictions all across the world. What lessons can founders and investors take from your regulatory journey when scaling globally? Probably very interesting as we invest in a lot of early stage founders across the world. I would love to have you guys' take on that.
Sure. Thanks for that question. So for any global business, right, it's not only our business, but for any global business, the ambition is global, right? All your customers are spread across the world, but business is local. So when we say that, it's because the culture of doing business, the preferences, the likes and dislikes, the local nuance, what are sensitive areas that you shouldn't go in, what are the strong preference of a certain market, those are all local. So every market is different. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to be successful in every market, right? We can't use a playbook to say, hey, this is good, but it's going to work in every country, in every jurisdiction. It doesn't work like that. So every time we do a local deployment, we need to study the market in quite detail, engage the local stakeholders, and because they have been there, they know much more than we do, and plan quite strategically, right? Who are the key stakeholders that we need to engage on the different fronts, from policymakers to regulators to financial institutions to our local community to users. What do they want, right? And how can we make ourselves meaningful in the local country, in the local jurisdiction? All these takes time, effort, and resources, and doing it right is critical for the long-term success. So we do spend a lot of time in each of the local jurisdictions that we are deployed to do each of these areas. And we continue to learn on a day-by-day basis, right? Because every day is a learning journey. We learn new things, how to get things better, even though we could have gotten it right in the first instance. But how do we constantly get things much better? So we serve now more than 280 million users globally. We hold the most regulatory license and approval globally, more than 21 by now. But it is very hard work at the local level to make sure that we build not only a sustainable global business, but a very strong and robust local operation, right? And even though now you have new regulations coming through, in crypto, the regulatory framework are not like in traditional banking or in securities market or commodities market. In crypto, the frameworks are not harmonized yet, right? There's no standardization. The rules differ greatly from country to country. So understanding all those things make for successful local implementation. So hopefully that'll give you a bit more insight of what we do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Richard. Very insightful answer.
Thank you so much.
A huge thank you there to TBB, and a great question for you, Richard, on kind of the regulatory focus with all the milestones with regulatory approvals. It's now time for our next speaker. So we have Non-Playable Sin, who has joined us. Love the profile picture. Thank you for joining us today. I will hand the stage over to you to ask your question to Richard.
Thank you, Jessica. And it's great speaking to you both today. I had a question. It seems like things are going really well for the crypto industry. We have got a pro-crypto president in the US, increasing adoption from institutions, and obviously payments becoming more accessible. But I want to know what you think crypto needs to be, where you think crypto needs to be, for where you want it to be.
Sure, thanks. That's a great question. And maybe to start it out to say that, look, the last 1.5 years has been great for all of us in crypto, right? So who would have imagined that, if you were talking about 2 years ago when the US election was still going on, the debates were still going on, that we would have elected a pro-crypto president that is very in the know, that's very supportive of this industry. And President Trump has said, look, this is going to the US wants to be the crypto capital of the world. Yeah, it wants to be crypto hub. And together with AI, crypto and AI are the two foundational technology that will drive every economic subsector going forward. So last 2.5 years has been great. And I think for those that have been through the bear market, that have been hodling, it is a reward, right? It is highlight, it is something that we have been waiting for and we're enjoying the moment. But in my view, we are still in a very early innings of work, right? So my vision, if you look at the future state, we are in this state where things are growing very quickly, and financial institutions, corporations that have resisted and been anti-crypto for the longest time are now all jumping on the bandwagon to try to embrace it because they've seen how crypto transform supply chain, transform payment system, transform very archaic technology and infrastructure such as SWIFT. So my vision, if you look at the future, where should we be? Where we need to be is a future world where the wallet is your bank account. You're going to receive your salary in your wallet. You're going to do all sorts of payments via wallet. Don't have to go through a financial intermediary per se. You can do all sorts of investments, intermediaries, borrow, lending, etc., all on that platform, right? So, and that can solve a lot of problems. But there's a future state that we will need to build towards, right? And there's a lot of work we need to do to get there. Now, of course, there are plenty of investment opportunities along this journey. So to get there are a few things that we need to do. First, to make sure there's continue to be positive momentum on the regulatory front. Right now that the US is supporting it, all the other countries are seeing the benefit of crypto. And one by one, you see all of them trying to come onto the bandwagon, trying to introduce clarity into their system to support crypto. Because when the largest economy in the world with the deepest capital markets is supporting this and wants to be the crypto capital of the world, the rest cannot stand still. They cannot afford to lose out in a very big way. Otherwise, they'll be left far behind, both in terms of talent, in terms of foreign direct investment, in terms of economic growth. So that's the true case. But we need that positive momentum to go ahead. Secondly, we need to continue to bring about meaningful innovation with real use cases that continue to solve problems, bring about transformation to the world, and improve lives. I think all those things are extremely important so that crypto will continue to grow quickly in a sustainable and robust fashion going forward. And third, education. There's still a lot of misconception, there's still a lot of misgivings about crypto in general by the uninformed. So we need to do a lot more to bring them into the informed category of people, to highlight how this technology is wonderful, it can change life, it can change how corporates are being run, how transactions, how people will live going forward. So those are a few key things that we need to continue to do well and push ahead.
Great. Well, thank you, Richard and Non-Playable Sin. Thank you for the question. That was fantastic. And yes, a huge congrats to everyone that is in crypto. It's always very inspiring, especially Richard, when you say that despite all of the huge milestones we've had as an industry, we're still early. It's very motivating to keep going forward. So next up, we have Mr. Howe, who could be joining us for a question. Let's see if he is joining us or on the line. Do we have Mr. Howe?
Yeah. Hi, Richard. It's really nice to see you here in the audience. And my question is a bit funny, but interesting for many people. Like CZ once said in an interview that according to him, Satoshi Nakamoto is an AI from the future. What is your opinion about Satoshi Nakamoto?
You know what? CZ is smarter than me. So what he says, he probably have some basis for that. So I'm not going to question that. But whatever the case is, right? I think we all owe Satoshi great debt on that front. Whether it's from the future, he must be an extremely smart person to come out with the most decentralized blockchain platform in the world. So if in future we can develop time travel, we should be able to verify then, right? But not now. We're not able to verify that. But it's clearly either a brilliant individual or brilliant group of people who's way ahead of our time. They're thinking of all the things that Bitcoin and crypto can solve in the world, right? And for the longest time, as I mentioned just now, financial institutions were threatened, right? They're resisting until they have no choice and give up, and now they're embracing it. So it is revolutionary. Many people that don't spend time, energy to understand that will still not fully grasp the concept, which is a testament to Satoshi's genius. And the innovation that he sparked, or she sparked, or the group of them sparked, led to an entire new industry that we are in today, right? So, but I think whoever Satoshi is, I think he, she will want to remain anonymous, because that's the best way to continue to really support this industry. Once, become known, the mystery and the intrigue is out, right? But I think what we should focus on is how good the blockchain technology, how good Bitcoin has been for all of us here.
I love that theory. I have not heard that theory before, but that is absolutely fantastic. And I think if you do ask most people in crypto if they had a time machine and they could go back in time, most of them do say they would go back and buy some Bitcoin. So
me too. Me too.
Well, this is what sets us apart from Satoshi, is he goes back and builds.
I'll buy a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of BNB, etc.
Smart strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, excellent question. Next up, we have Crypto Jobs joining us. Thank you for joining us, Crypto Jobs. I will hand the stage over to you to ask a question to Richard.
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you, and I'm very happy to talk with you today. So with more institutions joining crypto today, there are a lot of new users which are joining this market, but trading can feel very confusing and overwhelming for them. My question is for newcomers entering into this game, what are the most important principles you recommend for growing and protecting their investment over time? And also, looking back, what mistake do you think beginners should be especially careful to avoid in this evolving industry? So thank you.
That's a very wise question over there. So for us, we have always stressed this, right, from Binance. The most important thing that any newcomers should bear in mind is do your own research. It is your money, right? So spend plenty of time to understand this sector, to understand the technology, what blockchain, what's on-chain, etc. But the more you learn, whatever it is, whether it's crypto, whether it's AI, the better you will be, right? And you will become much more informed. So we always tell people, do your own research for newcomers. Start small, understand before you really scale up your investments, right? So that's something that's very prudent, and we will continue to stress that. Some of the tips we also try to stress to people: understand fundamentals of blockchain and crypto. Understand why this technology is so wonderful, how it can transform the world. What are the different chains, the different protocols? Study the projects carefully, what they represent, what do they hope to achieve. Start small, use a reputable platform. And I'll recommend to everyone out there, use Binance, because you're always looking out and protecting your interests on that front. And explore and regularly reassess your strategy, your risk profile. And just don't trust hearsay. People say, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. It's going to be hot, etc. Don't trust hearsay, etc. Do your own research. That's the most important.
Lovely question. Thank you, Crypto Jobs. And I like what you said at the beginning of the stream, Richard, that crypto is absolutely the long game, and we're looking at building infrastructure for the next hundreds of years. And I think as a testament to that, also, crypto is a marathon, not a sprint, for the newcomers that are listening in. So next question. With that said, we have Alek Carter joining us now. Alek, thank you for joining us. I will hand the stage over to you for your question to Richard.
Hey, Jessica, thank you. Richard, thank you. And so my question is very simple, that what's your perspective on the role of TGs and airdrops in shaping retail participation? And are we moving towards a more sustainable models? So what will you say about this, Richard?
Oh, good observation on that front. So to start off, TGEs and airdrop have always been important entry points for retail, but the design matter, right? And I think as people continue to evolve, learn more, see how the industry react, things are getting much more sustainable. So in the past, we have seen low float, high FDV launches that left many users, investors disadvantaged or feeling disadvantaged because the airdrops often feel very short-term speculation that don't last, right? So instead of trying to look at long-term community alignment, people spend too much time on some of these things. And that model is unsustainable. We are seeing a shift towards much healthier practices. So projects launching with higher floats and low FDVs, and airdrops being designed to reward real usage, loyalty, contribution, engagement. And all these are so much better, right? So the balanced release structure combined with transparency, fair allocation, community involvement, and that's what makes participation very meaningful and lasting. So retail wants to be true participants. They don't want to be an exit strategy or exit liquidity for the projects or the early investors. So sustainable model, whether through better design, TGs, fairer airdrops, mechanisms such as buybacks tied to protocol revenue, build a much healthier market infrastructure that benefit both the projects, their community, and the crypto industry in general, right? So you're going to build a long-term industry together on this front. So let's look forward to much more sustainable model for individuals.
Thank you so much, Richard. I got you, and I would love to join in the next space. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining.
Great. We look forward to seeing you on the next space, which I believe will be on X at the end of September. Next up, we have yikesqq to ask a question to Richard. Hey, I hope you can hear us okay. And we'll hand the stage over to you to ask your question to Richard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you. Hello, guys. And I have a quick question about Binance Square. So Binance already have one of the strongest community on Twitter, Telegram, and other platforms. What was the real gap you saw in the market that made you decide to launch Binance Square instead of just relying on existing platforms?
Yeah, well, I want to first acknowledge that platforms such as X, Discord, Telegram, and much more, and you have more platforms coming on stream. Right? They are fantastic. And we have invested significant resources in growing and engaging with communities there, and we will continue to do so because they play a vital role within the crypto, within the engagement ecosystem. But our vision for Binance Square is bigger. We wanted to create a dedicated town hall for everything crypto, right? A vertical platform focused solely on everything crypto related, or focused solely on everything that our users are keen on, are interested, are paying attention to, want more information, want much more engagement on. So it offers a square with no noise, where users can easily find, share crypto content, making it much more user-friendly, especially for newcomers. So on that front. And it's much more than a social platform. It is integrated with trading features. It allows users to get real-time information, participate in live trading directly within the ecosystem. And hopefully, over time, we're going to introduce a lot more new feature and to engage the community even much better, right? So that is going to be our goal for Binance Square. And if you have any ideas how we can do that, what the new features that you want to see, do let us know.
I'll share the ideas. Thank you so much for your answer.
Yeah. So, we also built the Square to support crypto creators and communities like Right to Earn, Creator Pets, etc. So it feels a very unique gap.
Great.
Hi Richard, thanks for taking the time to address community question today. My question is, with your background at SGX and ADGM, How do you see TradFi and crypto coming together, and what role should Binance play?
Okay, good question. So as you can see, for the longest time, TradFi players have been trying to push crypto adoption, development back, right? Which is natural because crypto in many sense is a competitor in their view. But I don't see it as such. I see there are so many things that's complementary. Each have their strength and can fill gaps in the other. And TradFi, truth be told, have served us very well for decades. But it hasn't solved a lot of persistent issues. Things like, I started in financial services more than 30 years back. Even then, financial inclusion has been a big problem. People having no access to payment system, people not being part of banking. It's too costly for them to join. The banks make it very difficult. People remitting money to your loved one, especially if they're working overseas and trying to remit money back home. Very high cost of remittance, right? Ranging from 15 to 20% in some cases for very small amount remittance. Very slow transaction speed. If you do a transfer via a bank, it takes 2-3 days to reach the recipient. Very expensive, etc. And if you are doing trading in other instances, for example, you're doing securities trading, most trading are still on T+1, T+2, T+3, and some even T+5 settlement, right? Whereas crypto is atomic settlement, it's instant. So if you do a transfer, it's instant, it's near instant, it's extremely low cost. It brings about much greater financial inclusion on that front. So going forward, I think TradFi are seeing all these benefits coming through, which is why if you talk to any of the firms now, be it a bank, e-commerce player, all of them have seen how stablecoin can transform that landscape. So all of them are thinking of supporting or launching their own stablecoin. If you are in the payment space, again, they have seen how crypto can transform that payment landscape again, right? And remittance space, I think we see the theme being repeated throughout, right? Including not only all these use cases, but the financial institutions have a lot of middle back office that does reconciliation. Every trade has to be reconciled, takes a lot of resources. But if you put them on blockchain, right, you don't need to do reconciliation because it's immutable, right? It's transparent. So there are so much benefits. I think they are now coming together. They are now working with many players, including ourselves, to really support all these new changes. So you'll see a different landscape going forward. So what we're going to build Binance is to become a super app for crypto and beyond, right? Transferring funds to your friend, shop at your favorite merchant, earn passive income, read news, donate, etc. Everything will be powered by crypto going forward. It's so much simpler. It brings about financial inclusion in a massive way. And we want to make all of those things possible within the Binance app, working with crypto community, crypto industry, as well as with TradFi players.
Really powerful vision there. And I think especially when you do go to regions such as Bhutan, where I know you were recently, Richard, where you do see integrations and people accepting and transacting with crypto across thousands of merchants. And it does make it seem that we really are on the right path to global adoption at a high level of crypto and the industry at large. So, okay, fantastic. Now it's time for our next question. We have Maria from Arabic Wales. Maria, thank you for joining today and during the stream. I will hand the stage over to you to ask your question to Richard.
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would love to say that we are very honored to be here with you, and it's a pleasure to be with you, Jessica, and also Richard. Thanks a lot for making this time to be with the community. It means a lot to us. And our question is, as a KOL, many of us try to translate and explain complex concepts for new users. How can Binance empower community leaders and crypto influencers to accelerate crypto adoption? And thanks a lot.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us. And also, thank to you and all the KOLs out there and creators for all your hard work and your support of us. We are really appreciative of all your contributions. So thank you, Sukran, 谢谢. to all of you on that front. Binance, we aim to be highly engaged and collaborative with the community leaders worldwide. So we do it through many different channels, such as online campaigns, our community meetup, where we meet all of you face-to-face, conferences, and many, many other things that we try to engage on a much closer basis. Even for things like Binance Square, we recently launched the Creator Pad that allows creators to get rewarded and earn for educating new users and spreading crypto awareness, because you're doing an extremely, extremely important role to educate new users coming through and highlighting to them the benefits, the pitfalls, what to look out for, etc. And all your efforts led to the vibrancy, the robustness of the ecosystem. It helps to accelerate mass adoption. So we want to do even more. But again, we don't have a monopoly of good ideas. So if you have any good ideas on your front, please feel free to share them. On whether it's how do we empower the crypto community leaders to accelerate mass adoption, on any other things, right? Product features that you want to see, things that can get people interested, please feel free to share with us. And we take all these inputs, comments, even criticism very seriously, because that's how we continue to improve and support you in your needs.
Thanks a lot for your answer. And I have to say that Binance Square was a game changer for us. So we are very happy to have it and to be here on it also.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Great. Well, thank you to Maria for the question and also the feedback on Binance Square. Okay, so we have our next question. I think we're going to bring to the stage Vikas, if he is with us today. Let's see if he is joining.
Vikas is unfortunately not joining us, so if you could read out his question, please, Jessica.
Absolutely no problem at all. So Vikas Jangra has asked us, AI is changing the world very fast. Do you think AI will also change how people trade and use crypto? And how is Binance preparing for this future?
Good question. I mentioned that AI together with crypto are the two most important technology driving the future world, right? So whatever you do in future, you can't run away from AI, crypto, and blockchain. And that's the fact of life. So AI is really impacting crypto trading and usage on that front, but we are still very early in the journey. It's just like crypto, right? Very early in the journey. A lot of things are developing very quickly. A lot of talents are working in both industry, trying to come up with the future state of the world. And what excites me the most is AI's potential to democratize access to sophisticated trading tools, which were only once available to big institutions, right? So in the past, big institutions had plenty of money to throw behind research, to come up with very sophisticated tools, taking advantage of all those. But with AI, it leveled the playing field, right? Many more, including retail, can access to tons and tons of material, data, research, sophisticated trading tools, etc. And they can help retail traders analyze the market much faster, identify trends, make better decisions in real time. So at Binance, we are integrating AI to provide smarter order types, much more personalized recommendation insights that empower our users without overwhelming them. So AI will be a very helpful assistant, enhancing the human judgment. Right? And we have a bunch of exciting updates coming out on this front over the next several months. So do look forward to it. We are also investing a lot into AI within the organization, right? So throughout the different value chain, the processes, we are becoming much better, more efficient, sharper, and you will see a lot of these downstream benefits down the road when we roll out all these new features and new ways of engagement.
Great answer. Thank you, Richard. And absolutely, it's super fascinating to see how AI and crypto will intersect through transactions and other means. Okay, it's time for our next and I believe our final audience question. So let's see if Paxton is joining us. Paxton, thank you for joining today. Love the profile picture. I believe it looks like you're in Dubai there. Hope you could hear us okay, and we will hand the stage over to you for your question to Richard.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, greetings, and it's a big honor for me, Richard, that I'm talking.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay, my question is regarding Binance Square. So, the real creators put time into research and maybe post 5 to 10 times a day, but spammers drop 100 useless posts and flood the feed with spam. So they get also right to earn more than the real creators. So will Binance Square bring tools to cut spam and boost quality content?
Yes, very good observation and good insights and good inputs. So absolutely on that front. So our Binance Square team is very well aware of this challenge and has already implemented improvements to tackle spam and to promote quality content. And we are continuously exploring new ways to ensure that all our hardworking creators get the recognition and rewards that you deserve. So we are leveraging AI technology to analyze content quality, for example, and this is already part of how we rank creators on our Creator Pet Leadership Board, right? And while quality can be subjective, our team is constantly refining the recommendations algorithm to improve the relevance, the value of the content shown to users. We want to do our best, our utmost to support quality creators, such as independent researchers, by giving them recommended labels or badges to highlight their expertise as well as credibility. And we welcome feedback, comments, insights from the community to help us improve all these tools and point out problems that could be caused to make Binance Square a much better place for everyone. You have our assurance on that front. Anytime you see problems, challenges, please do let us know.
And I'm sorry, I just want to echo what Richard said, since I'm here joining on behalf of Binance Square as well, and promise that we are doing our utmost best in order to combat spam. And we're very much aware of this issue. Thank you so much, Richard, for responding to this question.
Thanks for that.
Great. Thank you, Richard, and also the official Binance Square team there. So that concludes most of the session. We do have one final question, though, just to kind of summarize, because I think these CEO Connects are so imperative for hearing feedback from the community. And Richard, a huge thank you for taking time out of such a busy schedule to join us for these and to answer some of our questions. So just as a final note, Richard, because I am curious to hear, we often talk about Binance's mission statement of increasing the freedom of money globally. And you are constantly on the road representing Binance and having meetings and meeting different community members and people that are really driving the force forward of cryptocurrency adoption. Out of the many stories that you've come across over the years, I'm sure, are there any that had particularly stood out to you recently as a really powerful example of the Binance mission in action?
Well, so I think I have so many stories to share, right? So but I'll just highlight two of them, right, that really leave a very lasting imprint on me. So first of all, I was in the country, people don't recognize me, but I was wearing my Binance cap. And the person on the bus I was traveling on asked to take a photo of the cap, not of me, right? Say, can I take a photo of the cap? So I say, I'm sure, as I pass it to the person. He's a very, very young gentleman. And after he took a photo, very proud, he took it, wearing it as well. I asked him, why are you so fascinated with this cap and with this logo? And he said that, look, this company, Binance, transformed the life of my entire family. And he went on to elaborate that the brother, or they used to come from a disadvantaged family, right? But the brother decided to then embrace crypto a couple of years back and then became a creator, a KOL. And because of that, the livelihood and the destiny of the entire family has changed, right, to so much better, right? So everybody gets much more comfortable now. They have reached financial independence as a family. So they are very grateful for crypto and for Binance for really giving them the opportunity to achieve financial independence, which is why whenever he see this logo, he became really fascinated and very, very grateful. So that left a very deep imprint on me. The other one is a place in North Africa that I went to. Something similar but slightly different. Again, I was on the road talking to people, to users, and people were coming up to me thanking for various things. But this lady came out to say that, the platform Binance, by supporting the freedom of money globally, has really helped change and improve the life of their family. So I asked her how, and she was saying that, look, the family the father was working in Asia, not a high salary person, but was remitting money back to the home country. And because of the high remittance cost that they pay, they receive so much less on a monthly basis from the father. But once they discover crypto, or the father discovered crypto, the beauty of it, they start remitting money. And over time, the savings from the cost are very substantial in local terms and allow them to do a lot more things to improve the life of everybody within the family. So again, that left a very deep imprint on how crypto, how Binance as a platform have really improved the livelihood of so many people around the world. And these are real life story, real life example of how crypto Binance has transformed and impacted the lives of many. So we are very grateful to be a part of all this, to be a part of your life. And we are very, very grateful for you supporting us in your journey. And we'll be here on a relentless basis, working tirelessly to support all this important financial inclusion, successful story going forward.
What a fantastic answer. Thank you, Richard. And also, you've shown the power there of the Binance merch by wearing the Binance hat. It was a conversation starter at large, and heard some stories from some of our users. So that was really fantastic insight from you. And just to echo what Richard has said, a huge thank you to our community as well, because by joining these streams and commenting on the chats and engaging in interaction, we are able to hear from you and hear your feedback, which is something we are all extremely grateful for. So Richard, thank you so much for joining us today and for taking time out of your schedule. As always, it's such a pleasure to hear your insights. And also a huge thank you to our community for joining, listening in, commenting, and also to those that asked some fantastic questions. And we will see you in 1 month's time towards the end of September to hear our September CEO Connect. But as always, Richard, thank you for joining, and a big thank you to the community.